And welcome into the Project Game Day postgame show after the Ravens hold on. It obviously got hairy there late, but they do indeed hold on for a 27-19 victory over the Vikings. Project Game Day postgame show is brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER and helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services if you or a loved one has a gambling problem. Let's start just because she's immediately right there. I'm going to turn to Rita because she is in Minneapolis at US Bank Stadium. Where, Rita, your initial thoughts?
I mean, they got it done, right? Like the first half was a little rough, and then they adjusted better, not the way I would have liked in the second half, but better and obviously enough to win. I I need somebody to explain to me though why on that third down on their last possession they just don't run the ball. They have no timeouts. They have none.
So we could have a lengthy debate about this.
I don't want to have a debate about it. I just think it's stupid, and that's
I
there's no
and
debate for me.
yeah, there's a lot of debate for me because we've often on this show said don't leave it up to your defense, go win the game. We've said that a
Now
number of
they had
times
no
on this
timeouts.
show.
They had no timeouts, right?
Right,
They
but
had no timeouts.
in most offensive worlds, a minute and 10 seconds is enough to get down the field. They had enough time without that. Go win the game. I got no problem with this. Like the one
Right.
before, when they're
Yeah,
running the ball
we
on
just don't agree there at all.
running the ball on 3rd and 17 from inside your own five, or sorry, throwing the ball there, that's insane. Like you're
Well,
not converting that in a million years.
I
I'll
get that. They just wanted trying to get space for kicking. That part I get. I don't understand how I'm not leaving any minutes, I mean, any seconds on the board if I don't have to. That's just me personally. That's where I stand with that. And I'm never going to not have that opinion ever. So you don't have to argue about it. You said you cool with it. I said I'm not. It's really just that.
But you got to complete that pass, and that to me that's an on Lamar.
I
Like
mean,
Lamar
I
can't
don't
throw that
disagree with
ball
that.
into a defensive lineman.
I agree.
Like
I agree with that too.
he has to know if it ain't there, you just got to go down, take the loss.
I
Like
agree with that too. I
that to me is
completely
the
agree
issue
with that.
on that. Like I
That's fair. And
try
that's
to.
a fair.
No, we'll see if we can't read it. Hopefully we'll get more connection there with Rita.
I,
Oh, all right, let's try. Rita, we'll come back to you. I promise. I promise. We'll try to see if we can't get you settled. Let's go to Andrew Stetka for his first thoughts after the Ravens win in Minnesota.
I mean, Rita kind of said it. They got the job done. It was never going to be pretty, I don't think. We talked last week about how the Dolphins kind of gave the Ravens a lot to work with, and I feel the same way about this game. The Vikings were not good in this game. They certainly participated in the Ravens winning this game in a lot of ways, but all in all, I thought the defense actually looked like they were flying to the football, and the defense is starting to show those signs that they did last year of, all right, the cobwebs are gone from the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, which I can really appreciate. Just got to talk about some efficiency in that red zone, and they'd be flying. But other than that, like I said, I think the Vikings participated a lot in this one in favor of the Ravens, which makes it a little bit harder to judge, but they got the job done again.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see nine like offsides calls. That's really
Or the
insane.
turnovers, like it's just
Well, I mean,
it's
a couple of them I thought were like I can understand the one. It's third down anyway. Just chuck the ball downfield,
sure.
see what might happen. But yeah, like the return. That I mean, dude, Keandre Jackson is starting to become a little bit of like a Ravens folk hero legend, like the type of name we'll talk about in 5 years. Like, yo, you remember that season Keandre Jackson had in Baltimore? The way that we talk about like Jim Leonard once upon a time. Keandre Jackson's a playmaker. So yeah, I mean, split them, right? Like 100%. The one on 3rd and inches, what they're doing there, I guess the argument is you think you're going to stand up and get it on 4th and inches anyway, so why not take a shot down the field and then Justin Jefferson falls down, which is the last thing you expect to have happen in that situation. So I can kind of understand that one. The other one's a third down play where you're just going for it and let's see what happens. But yeah, the two fumbles on kick returns. If I were in Minnesota, I'd be pretty sick about that. And the offside stuff at home, 9 offsides at home. Yo, how
I
did
wanna I wanna hear from Rita about because I couldn't quite tell on the broadcast if that was like an actual Ravens fans in the building thing or not.
yeah. You
But
heard him a couple of times on the
but that's
broadcast.
but that's wild.
Yeah, and it's normally in one of the better home field advantages, and they pointed out a couple times in the broadcast that like the Ravens trying to draw the Vikings off sides on the 4th and 3. They were like, yeah, that was never going to happen. It's way too loud in here. So yeah, that is crazy to me. All right, let's bring in former Ravens linebacker Tyus Bowser, who I believe is reporting to us live and local. I believe. What's up, buddy? How are you?
What's going on?
Your reaction, your thoughts?
I'm kind of with Andrew. I really felt like the defense came to play. It was nice to see an energy to them that you didn't really see too much, beforehand. And they flew around. I really liked how they played. They really was moving to go and get the ball. Guys was making a ton of plays out there. Um, the rush was, you know, getting there in a way. Um, But overall, I think they just played good. Offense, you start a little slow, and that's okay. But at the same time, you could still see them, flourishing and being able to throw the ball, distribute the ball to people, and making the most of the problems that the Vikings had, which was like the ton of offsides and all the things that they did against them that helped, Baltimore propel. So overall, I think it was a really good game that in part the Vikings kind of gave to him just because they was messing up. But at the same time, you take advantage of those moments and you make the most out of them, which I felt like they did.
Tyus, I want to run it by you because Rita and I were going back and forth about it before we lost her, and just your thoughts on the Ravens have the ball there at the end of the game. The Vikings are out of timeouts, out of the 2 minute warning. It's 3rd and 4, and they roll Lamar Jackson out looking to throw. He ends up having the ball batted down by Van Ginkel, and the clock stops, and it gives the Vikings now 1 minute and 44. Now, that proved to not be enough, and J.J. McCarthy running around like a maniac. Like, it didn't matter in the end, but I think there's room for debate here because I know we've said on this show before that, like, go win the game. Like, you've got the ball. Go make the play and win the game. And then when it doesn't work and the clock stops, it's easy to scream and say, well, why weren't you just running the ball on 3rd and 4 and punting it with 1 minute and 20 left instead of 1 minute and 50 some left? So I just want your thoughts on the decision there that the Ravens made to try to throw for it, get the first down, and end it on their terms.
Yeah, I could kind of tell that they were trying to do a quick snap just to get them off guard. And I guess through history and just seeing Lamar do the quick rollouts, there tends to be guys that's open, but I think the Vikings did a really good job of being disciplined and knowing where their mans are and making it hard for Lamar to make a play. With that, I feel like you are taking a chance by stopping the clock, knowing that, if it does, you giving them a chance to go out there and try to tie the game up. But on the flip side, you take the chance to put yourself in a position to get a first down and, hit a knee for the rest of the time. So I mean, it's a 50-50 throw up if you want to say at that point. But I thought it was a very interesting strategy that they tried to do by just trying to get a quick snap so that they're not ready. That would allow somebody to be open and make an easy pass for somebody. So I mean, you know, I can't say
Yeah,
that
you
I'm
got it.
not
I got to
bad
make. I
at it.
make it. What would Coach Tyus Bowser do in that spot? What would you're in
That's the
charge? You're
that's the
running the
tough
team.
part. That's the tough part because me personally, I don't think that's a bad play. You're getting them off guard. You're trying to make a quick pass for 4 yards to get them a first down. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm not mad at that call because I thought it was a good call personally. But at the same time, you can get 4 yards by running the ball, a quick jet to, anyone to try to get you 4 yards. So I mean, it's in the air, honestly, for me.
It's sort of where I am. I'm sort of in this place where like I get it. It's easy to look at the math and
Yeah,
say it's insane to not do the 40 seconds. But if you get 4 yards, the game's over.
game's
Like
over.
it doesn't matter how much time's left at that point. Like you get 4 yards, it's ball game. So I am torn, but I do lean towards the idea of I'm okay with you trying to win the game.
Yeah.
I do think that once Lamar had a linebacker right in his face, that maybe he needs to go down in that spot and just say, "Don't throw this ball." Like,
No, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that because that's just a strategic move to make where, you know, I mean, he has a high IQ. You know,
mhm.
he's just trying to make a play, but that would also be a good move to make if he did do that by just getting down to
Yeah,
where
just sliding down.
down. Yeah, instead of giving them a minute and 50 seconds left to go and try to tie the game up, you give him a minute left to go 90 yards. So that makes sense as well.
Let's go back to Minnesota. Rita, Andrew wanted to know what the fan and noise situation was because we are trying to make sense of how in the ever-loving F the Vikings were offsides offensively 9 times at home.
I don't understand. They are very football savvy, so they were quiet here when they had the ball on offense. So I have no idea why they did that. This was the nicest fan base I've ever experienced. Like, there was nothing bad you could say. Nothing. Not one person. Not one talk trash, y'all. Not one. It's crazy. They were all nice. They were all like, I couldn't even enjoy what was going on because it was like everybody was so nice. So rubbing it in felt bad. I felt bad.
Rita, you're wearing the same
So,
color as them. Of course they're going to be nice.
I know this is very true, and of course, everybody loved my jacket, as you can see. Because it's cold out here, y'all. It's 30 degrees. So,
Jeez.
everybody was super nice. It was a great experience, but I don't understand why they had so many false starts because they literally were like, I was telling Jordan, my son, I was like, yo, you can hear a pin drop when they're on offense, which, means they're very savvy. It's a dome stadium. So that's another thing, right? And I'm just like, I don't even understand what's going on and why they continue to get all of these, pre-snap penalties. So thankfully for us, they were doing that, but it just made no sense based on the crowd noise because there
That's
wasn't.
wild. That is wild.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe it's a Midwestern thing because I went to that Maryland-Wisconsin game in Madison and nobody at all. Maybe they just felt bad for me because I'm the one Maryland football fan on the planet. Maybe they were just like, oh, this poor sap, out here watching this team. Maybe that's what it was, or maybe it's just a Midwestern thing. Oddly, too, as much as we all hate the Colts and we always will, every time I've ever gone to Indianapolis, it's the exact same thing. They are never talking S. They are always like, it's nice to have you out here. It's so weird to try to explain.
Being from Baltimore, you're like, I'm ready. I'm like, go to hell. And
Yeah.
everybody's like, hey, well, did you have a great time?
Right.
Thanks for coming to our city. And I'm like,
they're trying to give you restaurant recommendations.
Yes.
I hope tonight you check out the friendly keg and tap.
Exactly. So we're heading to Tom's Watch Bar because we don't have one here. We're going to check this out. And then that's how we ended our night.
All right.
To enjoy this win.
100%. A fruitful trip. Rita decided not to go to Miami and instead to go to Minneapolis, where it's 30 degrees. That's the road trip she chose to make this season. Just repeating that.
Tell them why. Tell them why.
Your whole family. It's a family trip, which I think is very cool. The whole family.
Family trip.
Yep.
But
Gets
also,
together.
family trip, Jordan. Family trip, but also, I've never been to this stadium again.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
cool.
just at Hard Rock in September. So I didn't want to do, at this point, I'm just trying to not shade it and go. So it was a great experience. The stadium is really nice. People were really nice. I love the phone thing. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I was kind of getting into it. Don't tell nobody. When they was doing the song.
I mean, it always looks cool. It
Yeah,
always.
You just told everybody that you enjoyed it. So
Yeah, right.
Don't tell nobody else nothing. Don't tell nobody else I enjoyed it. That's all I'm saying. So I enjoyed it. It was a good time.
That's cool. That's very cool. I appreciate that. One other area where I thought Rita and I disagreed today, so let's cover this and I'll get everybody else's opinion about it, was the choice to kick the 56-yard field goal after getting the turnover and getting the short field where they didn't get any yards. And I understand the argument. Your defense was playing well, pin them down. I get the concept. But at some point, to me, you got to figure out if this kid can make a field goal of any distance whatsoever. And this is indoors. Like, this is the best circumstance you're ever going to have
Yeah.
for trying this kick. And so, Rita, I know you didn't like it, but like, again, for me, it's I need to know if this kid can make a kick. And I really do think we have to have a conversation about, like, in the end, you could be putting your season at stake with a kid that right now, I'm just not sure. He doesn't make big kicks. And even the kicks he makes, and I know he made 4 of them today, 2 of them were
Barely,
right. Like,
barely.
they were right on the
And he
edge.
missed a long one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Rita, walk me through your thought process there.
I think your point is valid, and I agree with you. I do think this was the perfect opportunity to do it, because, like you said, it's in a dome stadium, so he has no weather elements to deal with. So I agree with you in that regard. I just felt like, for me, you know, I just wanted to make sure Minnesota didn't get any momentum, and that I think that was my thought process as opposed to Luke. But when you put it into perspective in the way that you're looking at it, I think that point is very valid. I think that you do have to see if this is a kid that can make, kicks over 50 yards, and what is he going to do, in those situations. So I don't disagree with what you have to say. I think that that's a very valid point, and at some point that was going to have to happen. I think for me, the way I looked at it was that I just wanted Minnesota to be, pinned
Yeah,
that deep into their own
right.
territory. That's really it.
No, I get the thought process. Andrew, I want to go to you because I think you're the official member of the crew in terms of the watch. I believe, if I remember correctly, in terms of kicking, you have always been the governor of whether or not someone's on watch. So Tyler Loop has mostly made his kicks inside 50 yards. I think he's made all of his kicks inside 50 yards, but he hasn't really been making long kicks. And as Tyus, said, like we're all thinking the same thing every time he kicks the ball. Like it it don't feel good when it leaves his foot. Are we putting Tyler Loop on watch yet?
No, we're not putting Tyler Loop on watch yet. We're still learning that we're very spoiled as Ravens fans when it comes to our kicking game, is what we're doing. You got to let this kid grow into the role. I get it. I get everything you're saying, but I think you have to give it time. You can't judge it after, half a season. I just think you gotta let him ease into it at this point. It's far too early to be putting anyone on watch.
Tyus, first of all, your thoughts on their decision. It was 19-10 at that point when they made the decision to try the field goal. Your thoughts on the decision, and then your thoughts on where we're at with Tyler Loop.
I think I was okay with the decision. I think more so, like was mentioned, I think you have to put him in those situations. You have to give him a chance. But at the same time, like you said, there's a ton of expectations that people are so used to when it comes to kickers. But at the same time, I mean, you give all these expectations to everybody else, and they got to live up to them. So it's got to be the same thing for him. I mean, you talk about pass rushers and you needing these guys to come out and be productive on the field. When he get out on the field as well, like he needs to have the same exact expectation because that's just the standard there. It don't matter who you are. It don't matter none of that. Like it needs to be the same thing for everybody. So that's how I feel about it.
I'm sort of in this weird place where, like, I know that Andrew's right that it's probably unfair to be this judgmental, but I'm not judging it whether or not I think Tyler Loop's going to be a good kicker in 5 years. I'm judging it on whether or not I think Tyler Loop can make a kick with the season on the line
Yeah.
in the coming weeks. And that's a tough thing for me to have confidence in. And I get it. Like the retort would be, but tell me what kicker that's available right now you would have confidence in. And,
Justin Tucker.
Griffin wants to do that. Griffin wants to have that conversation.
I mean, I don't want to have it. But I'm
Griffin
saying,
Griffin.
You
I
literally
agree with
just mumbled the
everything-
man's name.
I
You
did.
mumbled the man's
I
name
agree with
under your
everything
breath.
Andrew said, and I realized, oh my God, we really were that spoiled with Justin Tucker for that long, and I don't know what the answer is. Because I kind of am closer to putting him on watch than I think you are.
But listen, the
even though he did
Ravens,
go 4 for 4.
the Ravens went through
his
this.
first 4.
The Ravens went through this exact thing after Matt Stover departed the team back in the day. Like it takes a while to figure it out. They
Right, but
went through a few
it also
kickers
cost them a game in Minnesota with Stephen Hashka, ironically in Minnesota, and
and
that it
and
led
an
to
AFC Championship game at one point. Like, yeah, you you you,
100%.
you might have to go through some of the heartbreak. You might, but then again, you might not. Like that's this is what a kicker is in the NFL these days. You don't get the Matt Stovers and the Justin Tuckers don't grow on trees.
That part I agree with, and I'd certainly understand the argument of, you're just bringing in a bunch of guys and hoping for the best, and a couple of teams did that this week. I'm pretty sure but Graham Gano is still kicking somehow, which is crazy to me because it feels like that guy's got to be 43 at this point. But yeah, 1 for 3 now from beyond 50 yards after that miss, and I get it. Like I'm not trying to pretend like a 56-yarder is like an automatic, but it feels like indoors a 56-yarder almost should be automatic anymore in the NFL.
And to that point, Glenn, I think what you see around the NFL, especially what we've seen this season in terms of kicks being made from distance, it is
Yeah.
going to put a brighter spotlight on when kicks from 50 yards aren't being made. I get what you're saying, but that's I think it's tough to judge a rookie in this spot coming into this team, also replacing a guy who had been here for so long and had been so successful when everyone else around the league looks so good. There's a weird learning curve there that still needs to be brought into this factor.
Project Gameday postgame show is brought to you by the Costas Inn. 2 locations now for the Costas Inn, the OG on North Point Boulevard in Dundalk, and the brand new Costas Inn now open at the Grandstand in Timonium. Everything you love about the original Costas Inn, and I always tell you to get the crab jalapeno poppers. They are a game changer. They just don't do steamed crabs at the new Costas Inn, but everything else you can find there at the brand new Costas Inn in Timonium. Let's talk about the O-line. Lewis in the comments says, I thought the D did okay. The O-line continues to struggle to me. Your thoughts? And it's weird because, Tyus, it felt like in the second half when they were committing to running the ball, we did finally see like this offensive line look like they were up for being the bullies and pushing downfield. It feels like the offensive line issues continue to be uniquely to me to the passing game where it just feels like everything seems sped up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to kind of explain the dynamics of it. I mean, just based off looking like you said, just giving Lamar that opportunity when it comes to the run game, and you know, we're getting a few yards, but we're not getting that push that we're normally seeing or that we are typically getting. And I wish I could tell you, I wish I can give you all the answers, but honestly, I can't because I'm still trying to figure out the reason of it's still being like this. We've already had our bye week. We've already game plan. We've already made these moves, and we're still seeing the same results as far as the struggle of this offense when it comes to the run game, when it comes to pass protection. And yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to even approach this situation, honestly.
Let me approach it this way because I feel like the question that people are asking, Emory Jones, their third round pick out of LSU, who played tackle, to be fair, he did not play guard. He was a third round pick, right? Like when you select someone in the third round, Tyus, obviously you're expecting them to be a player.
Yeah.
Missed the preseason, missed all of the off season. Now he's finally active. He was a scratch today, but the thought is in the next couple of weeks he should be football ready. Are you at a place with either one of the guards that you turn it over to someone who has never played in the NFL before and again was a tackle in college just because you need to do something else and the expectation is that he's a football player, or do you just have to ride it out and say this is what it is and it's either going to work or it's not?
I'm I'm thinking you ride it out because yes, you are a third round pick, and yes, you have these expectations of being able to take on these responsibilities as a O lineman to come out here and do your job. This is why we paid you, you know. But at the same time, you got a guy who's playing out of position, who hasn't played at all, and you're literally just gonna say, "Yeah, we drafted you in the third round, and you better be able to play guard, and we ain't put you out there at all." to give you any type of reps, to give you any type of feel. So I mean, that's a little bit of a different dynamic for me. That's like somebody being like, yeah, you played outside linebacker this whole entire time, and you've been out with your Achilles injury. All right, let's put you at middle linebacker, and you need to be out here playing like Roquan.
Hmm.
It's like, come on now, like we got to be real here. Like we got to use our logic at this point to be like, this guy hasn't played at all. He's been hurt. So it's going to take him a minute to get his wind up, to get his feet right, all of that stuff. And he's playing out of position. So I think there has to be some type of grace there, especially if that's a place that you need help and you need protection with. I don't think putting him in that place is going to be the best situation. So I think it's best that you allow him to play his position. You give him that opportunity, those few reps to get himself going, and then from there, you put him in there during practice and give him a chance to see where he's at. And if it works out, it works out. If not, at least you give him a chance, and you've been able to see that this is probably not what it needs to be at the moment, and then you work on it, in the upcoming years. So that's how I kind of look at it.
It is tough too because like I don't know that there's going to be a tackle job available anytime soon, right? Like we never know with Ronnie and the injuries, and you pray that he stays healthy because we all know how dramatically different the Ravens are when he's on the field versus when he's not. But certainly Rosengarten's not going anywhere, so like even when they drafted him, I wonder if they were thinking like, hey, to start maybe you're a guard, and then if the need pops up, we'll see where you are at tackle. And they're not really saying a ton about that. And certainly they wouldn't want to give it away to anyone. I understand why they're being a little bit mum about that. But it is an interesting. I just don't know how long you keep going and trying to defend the two guys playing guard
Yeah.
when it's kind of clear, right? Like
Yeah.
it's really kind of hard to ignore the issues that they have up front.
And I can also point out too that when it does come to O linemen, especially when you're drafted high, they expect you to be able to play different positions outside of what you're typically
Mhm.
normal to doing. So I feel like within him, I'm sure there's always been a talk when he got drafted. Is like, hey, like we know you play tackle, but we're also going to need you to figure out how to play guard as well. Especially knowing that that's where they've been struggling at. That's typically why they approached him and been like, hey, like let's try you out at guard and see where it goes. Now, like I said, you're not just gonna throw him out in the fire, knowing that he hasn't had any reps, but you're gonna put him out there in practice. You're gonna give him an opportunity to get his feet wet to see what he can do in that position.
Let's talk about the red zone in general today. Two touchdowns and five trips to the red zone. And some of that I do think is a story of some of their offensive line troubles. Like a lot of it is probably a story. To me, that's probably the biggest story of their issues in the red zone today. And not that it's fair to say that you're going to go 5 for 5. Like I understand, like that's not you're not going to bat 1,000 in the red zone when you get 5 attempts, but I do think that 2 for 5 is disappointing. And Andrew, I think the biggest culprit there seemed to be also early on. There were some kind of inexplicable drops, right? Like surprising. Like the one from Mark Andrews is a play that I will acknowledge that's a really difficult play to make, but
It's a play he makes a lot though.
I agree with you on that. The one from Bateman was a little bit behind him, right? Like that one,
He
you
can
want
make that catch. He can make that
I
catch.
agree with you as well. Like I'm just trying to have a complete. I'm not trying to give everybody I think it
Yeah,
can be.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Early on, it
I'm
almost
with
felt
you.
like it was going to be that Detroit game from a few years ago where everybody was dropping the ball.
It
Yeah,
really
Like
it
it did feel like that.
it
Dude,
felt it had those vibes.
I really was starting to wonder if like there's just some weird curse in Minnesota, right? Like oddly, and I know there's not a whole lot of history there, but the Ravens have never won in Minnesota before today. And I get it, like it's an anomaly. They have not played there a lot over the years, but I was just starting to wonder if it's like just a weird, there's some sort of weird curse in this place that exists for the
Did
Ravens.
did you also see the stat that every time that the Ravens have beaten the Vikings in a season, the Vikings have gone on to fire their head coach, and every time the Vikings have beaten the Ravens in a season, they've gone to the NFC Championship game?
Well, that's random. That
It's very
That
it's
is
very
crazy.
random.
I've never heard that.
yeah,
It's
that
very
couldn't be
random,
more
but
random. That is weird as hell.
But
Again, this
Glenn,
is
to your point,
yeah.
the red zone struggles, I do think like I didn't see a lot wrong with the play calling or anything like that. It just seemed like a lot of execution issues to me. And I do think a lot of it does go back to the offensive line. It's why when we talked, a week and a half ago prior to the trade deadline, my top priority was improving the offensive line
Yep.
because you do have to dance with the one that brought you here. And I do think that yes, 2 for 5 is in the red zone is not good. Some weeks 4 for 5 is not going to be good enough. Like that the offense has to be able to execute better in order to if the Ravens want to go far, like they have to have the offense clicking on all cylinders. And I do think that when it comes down to it, those two guard positions that you're talking about are a big part of why it's struggling to lift off completely right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's just kind of no way around it, and it's tough because you're turning to someone who is less experienced, no matter who it is. To the point, we say, hey, we don't want it to be Emory Jones. Okay, well maybe it's Corey Bullock instead. Well, Corey Bullock's never played in the NFL. Like, I have no idea if that's going to work. I have
And
no
again,
clue.
it's not all on the offensive line. What you're talking about too, with those drops and everything, like there are a lot of factors that at play here. When they did start getting downhill and running the
Yeah.
football, especially in the third quarter, I really, that's what you want to see. You want to see Derrick Henry running downhill anytime you get the chance.
We are continuing on the Project Game Day post-game show. Ken Zales checks in to say hello. KZ, for those, he was busy. He's the athletic director over at Friends, and they were playing for a soccer championship today. So we're gonna give him a pass on this one. We're gonna let this one slide. I think I heard it went into like double overtime. Thriller. Congratulations to the Quakers. They win the title over at the Ridley Athletic Complex. But dramatic day for our buddy KZ. Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, Frederick, and Columbia. You are not feeling like yourself. You're a man of a certain age. Get in touch with Game Day Men's Health. GameDayMen'sHealth.com is the website. Get a free testosterone test. Free. Just find out. Is that the issue? Are you low T? If you are, they got a treatment plan for you. If you're not, they might still be able to help you, like they've helped me with peptide proteins. They've been a game changer. Perhaps you're dealing with other issues. You're dealing with maybe performance problems in the bedroom. You're dealing with, just taking off fat. Like it's stubborn when you get to a certain age. You feel like you're doing the right things, but it's not working. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. If KZ were here, would Keandre Jackson be the person he was promoting today? Since KZ's not here, we all have to promote someone instead. And I might take it off the man, this dude, Tyus, you know this, right? Like for young players that are trying to find their way into the NFL, the story is special teams. And this is going like down in history as someone who has understood the assignment and has come through in unbelievable ways, forced his way onto the active roster because he was so impactful in special teams and is out there making game-changing plays. I can't say I get it. Like there's a limit to how much he impacts the game because it's all on special teams, but I can't say enough about what this kid is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Harbs is a huge special teams guy, of course. And I mean that's how you get on the field. When I was a rookie and I got the call from Ozzy, one of the first questions he asked me is, "You ready to play special teams? Like, are you ready to come out here and contribute?" And I'm like, absolutely, because I know that's what's important here. I know that's what the standard is. And then from there, I had I had Levine that was part of that to
Oh,
allow and
a
show me the
star.
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, he set the standard. Like he showed me the way to how to make it in this league, to become a football player and play snaps on defense, and to be able to earn the trust of these coaches regardless of the situation, to be like, I can trust him on special teams, I can trust him on defense because I know he's going to do his job on special teams. So I mean, that's what it's all about, is like working your way and fighting and doing the little things right, in which he did to put himself on special teams. And when you go out there and show out, especially in front of Harbs, who is that guy, I mean, it's just a setup for success for you. And for me, I'm happy to see that from him, because a lot of kids his age don't understand how important it is to be able to play on special teams and know that unless you're a first rounder or you just one of those dudes who they just know they're gonna be on defense or on offense, you got to be able to play special teams. Else you're not gonna pick up your helmet on Sundays. So I respect the grind. I respect what he's done, and to be able to see what he did today, I mean, that's just a testament to his hard work and his dedication and his fight to go out there and earn what he wants.
Yeah, making game-changing plays. All right, if I take him off the table though, because he was mine, who are you promoting today, Tyus?
That's a good question. I ain't really seen like anybody that
It's
was
so
like,
funny you say that. So, Tyus, on Mondays, Griffin and I do a segment called "Pats on the Ass" after wins, where we pick five, like five guys that perform well, and we give them all. I'm literally like racking my brain, like I don't even know, like
yeah,
besides Jackson, who
yeah,
definitively early on Kyle Hamilton was all over the place. Like, and I still
yeah,
think that on the whole, Kyle Hamilton was probably the best player on the field for the Ravens
yeah.
today,
And
probably.
I like the energy that Roquan gave as well. I can definitely say that as well. If there was somebody, I'd probably say it's either those two. I mean, impactful plays, going out there and making it happen. So I would probably give it to either one of those guys. But yeah, I didn't really just see anybody besides Jackson that was like, oh man, this guy has
Right.
like set he's made the game. You know what I'm saying?
Andrew, what about you?
I certainly wouldn't say he made the game, but I'm starting to see some strides made by Mike Green.
Mm,
Had
mm,
had
Mm.
had three quarterback hits, a
mm-hmm,
TFL, is
mm-hmm.
starting to blow up some plays and make some impactful plays, which I like to see. We're another one, like, you don't want to judge it too early. I know that there's high expectations there, but it looks like it's starting
No,
to get
that's
put
a
together a little
that's
bit.
a great point. He definitely did pop a couple of times today. And you're right. Like it's not the game-changing plays necessarily, but he did seem to be impactful to me. Griffin, you have somebody?
I mean, maybe it's too much of an overreaction because they are still giving up a lot of yards defensively, but I feel like Zach Orr's been a lot better over the
Mm,
last couple of weeks. I mean, they
mm,
like and maybe that's too big of a
mm.
jump to say I'm promoting Zach Orr, but I think Zach Orr, I think he's settling in a lot better. The team's obviously the defense is much more healthy and back-to-back games with 3 takeaways, and they're still giving up a lot of yards, but I think they're locking down a lot better in the red zone. And sure, JJ McCarthy's a young quarterback, but they got stops. They got stops when they absolutely needed them today. So
I
I
guess
might go Zach Orr.
Tyus, I should ask you what you saw in Draymond Jones in his Ravens debut. Flushed McCarthy out a couple of times. Ended up with two quarterback hits. What did you make of the first vision of Draymond Jones in a Ravens uniform?
I thought he did really good. I think for his first game and just trying to get a feel for the defense, I think that him making those flushes allowed, you know, guys to be able to get to the quarterback a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just really nice at this moment for fans and for the defense to see someone, apply pressure to the quarterback because it's just been the case where quarterback just be sitting back there. So to be able to have him around, and I played with him when I was in Seattle at the
Yep.
moment, and like great dude. Like honestly, when I seen his name come up with the Ravens, I was like, they really got a really good guy who can really ball. He's athletic, he can drop if you need to. He can rush if he needs to. He can rush in and out, which I seen that today. And that's what you want. You want like a Swiss Army knife that's able to do a little bit more than what you typically had over the past few weeks. So just for him to come around, I'm actually happy to see what he's done, in the few days that he's
That's
been here.
cool. Can you, because they brought it up on the broadcast, but I think it's worth talking about. Um, yeah, that is worth noting. I mean, he played with that. Like he had a splint, for sure
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
today.
Harbaugh. So Harbaugh said it sounded like he kind of downplayed it. He was like, apparently it happened in practice this week,
And
and then at the and then he was like, and he still caught the interception. So it sounds like Harbaugh was somewhat downplaying it,
but
but
it
yeah,
did look early on like he was struggling a little bit with it on a couple of.
yeah,
Like, this is Marlon Humphrey we're
that
talking. For
is
those of
true.
you that are audio only, it's Marlon Humphrey that we're talking about, who suddenly on Friday was listed with this finger injury as limited in practice. He played, and he played with. I think that was a splint that he was playing with. And yeah, he caught the one. Now that was essentially a fair catch at that point, right? Like standing by himself. It did seem like it was impacting him a little bit, and he did not. He left the game early, so that'll be something to monitor this week. But yeah, John Harbaugh did appear to be downplaying it. Let me go back to that thought though, Tyus, because I mean you obviously know this well. The places that you ended up, you bring up Seattle, you bring up Miami, the connections there, right? They were talking on the broadcast about the significance of Draymond Jones having been with Mike McDonald in Seattle and then with Denard Wilson this year in Tennessee.
Absolutely.
Can you explain the impact of that for someone coming in, and why maybe it might have something to do with why the Ravens were specifically looking for Draymond Jones perhaps at the deadline?
I mean, I could just go based off my experience this past year where, I went and did a workout with the Titans and getting to talk to coach and getting the feel for the defense. And I'm like, this is an easy learning curve for me where mentally I don't have to think about the game. Now I can just go and play football knowing that it's already a refreshment really for them. And then going to Seattle as well, where it was literally easy. And then from there, I was with Weave in Miami.
Right.
So literally I went through the entire defense and didn't have to worry about having to think too much. And that's what you want as a player, is to not think like too much. You want to go out there and play fast. You want to play smart and know that when something is called, you know what to do. And for the most part, I feel like Zach would just have him do some small things as far as like knowing what calls to just go and simply rush. And then if it is a, a specific type of drop, I'm sure he's probably heard the lingo before that makes it, simple for him to go out there and play fast. And that's what you need from a guy that you just traded for, that you want to try to make an impact. And I think that this week was really good based off of the look, as far as giving him an easy game plan just to go out there and rush, give him a few calls just to switch it up so they don't think that he's just here to just rush, to, switch it up for the defense. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good pickup, man. I'm happy that they was able to bring him knowing that he's familiar with the defense, and it just allows them to be able to move forward with their defense in a fast pace. So
Well said. I appreciate that insights. Live casino and hotel, sports and social, best place to watch every game, every big fight night inside sports and social. 100-foot media wall, great food specials, drink specials, and so much more at Sports and Social inside Live Casino and Hotel. A couple of things that popped up via the comments on Facebook and Twitter. A lot of people bringing up that it's still mind-boggling that Keaton Mitchell was inactive for as long as he was, and I get it. I'm just glad he ain't inactive anymore. I'm just glad that's the case. And oddly, it was Justice Hill who finally was the one to plow in and get the touchdown when they were struggling in the red zone, right? Like, go figure how that works. I can't explain everything. If only KZ were here for us to have fun with him
that's
about that,
literally all I'm thinking about is like
right?
KZ.
Like, of course, it's the week he's not here.
Literally,
Of course,
exactly.
it's the week he's not here. That it was Justice Hill that came through in a big spot when the Ravens needed him. I did also love the 3rd and 1 fullback dive with Pat Ricard. Love that call.
Great movie. Great movie.
Right? I
He
think
looked like a
that
bowling ball.
no
Just
doubt. Right?
Literally,
just
everybody get out of my way. If you're in front of me, you're getting hit too.
those pins were going down no matter what.
Love that call. Thought that was tremendous. Again, was it a perfect day today? I don't think it was perfect. But it's hard to win on the road in the NFL. Ask the Detroit Lions, right? Like about going and playing the Vikings, and it didn't work out so well for them. The Ravens went and won in Miami last week. How'd that work out for the Buffalo
I was
Bills
gonna
today?
say, ask the Buffalo Bills how hard it is.
I mean, it is not easy to win on the
It's
road in
not
the
easy,
NFL.
man. It is not. Not.
Um, and then let's add to that, right? Like, and now you're winning on the road in the NFL when your season might be on the line. Like, when you have to win these games, you have no margin for error, and they're figuring out ways to win games. Do they need to be better? Yeah, I think they need to be better, 100%. But you'll take this in the meantime. Way easier to be dealing with these things in this
Can you
spot.
can you see that I guess he was playing with the cast
Oh
on as
yeah,
well.
yeah. It wasn't a splint as much as you're right. That looks
Yeah, it
like
was a
a
straight up cast on his ring and pinky finger of his left hand.
damn. Tyus,
Yeah.
how difficult is that? Like, how much respect should we have for Marlon for that?
Hey, I used to play with one of those back in college, and trust me, it's not easy catching the ball. So I'm actually impressed
That's
that he's
cool,
able
man.
to get there.
That is cool. Good for. I mean, as long as he's okay. That's cool as long as he's okay moving forward. But good on Marlon for that. All right. Don't forget 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org if you or a loved one has a gambling problem for free confidential services. We're going to try to do something with Tyus this week. We're going to work on that, making that happen.
Was that a catch that Roquan had on the interception?
Yo, it is so funny because I kept looking at it like, I guess I see what they saw. I guess.
So that was a replay assist. So the Ravens couldn't challenge.
The Ravens could not
right?
challenge that.
Okay.
Yeah, the Ravens could not challenge it. It was a replay assist.
So they decided.
Overruled.
So they did call an interception on the field, and they decided they wanted to overturn it.
And that was Pereira's point was like maybe, but it doesn't fit the clear and obvious. Which like I've had conversations with officials before about that where like they say you guys obsess over the words clear and obvious. We're told if the call is wrong, just fix it. Just fix the call. I don't know, man. Like I guess I can understand the argument for saying he didn't have full and complete control when the ball hit the ground, but I think
the clear and obvious comes in though when you're not looking at it at that speed. When you slow it down, like it was not clear and obvious on the field or in a simple, like you had to really slow it down to see that ball touch anything. I thought it was crazy to change that.
That's wild, man. It's wild. Now, wait a second. Now, Tyus, how does this work when you waste the Gasser celebration on what didn't even prove to be a turnover? Are those guys going to get shit about it?
I mean, you thought that it was a turnover, so I mean, it's just one of those. It's like, hey, it happened. You know, we thought it was a turnover, but it wasn't. It is what it is.
All right.
We'll find another one for next time.
I love the Gassers. I love them. I thought
great.
I thought that one was a really good one. Really creative. I dug it. All right. That'll do it for Project Game Day. We appreciate you guys. We will see you next week after